Hey guys, welcome back. Today on The Untidy Artist, we're making a vintage Valentine fairy doll. I've received quite a few requests for a vintage inspired fairy doll, and I thought it would be fun to take that idea and mix that up and make a vintage Valentine fairy. I also was inspired by some antique Valentines. My mom has a collection of gorgeous Valentines that are antique, and I remember growing up and looking at those and thinking they were so pretty, and so this doll is inspired by those vintage Valentines. Let's grab some supplies and get started. Now the first thing you're going to need is some flowers. I found a variety of flowers at Michael's, and I picked some out that were different shades of cream with different textures. So I found this really beautiful lace flower. I've noticed that a lot of craft stores are carrying a lot of flowers that have a lot more textures and are a lot more varied. I found this really pretty cream flower that I thought would be fun to layer with this really pretty deep burgundy colored flower. And then the last flower, I really liked how the petals on this looked ruffled, and I thought it would be fun to layer these together to create our fairy skirt. And then I've got some embroidery floss. I have a shiny light pink, and then I have a darker color that matches the flower, the dark burgundy flower. And then I have these little paper flowers. I found these at Michael's in the scrapbooking section, and I thought that these would be really pretty to add to her dress and add as an embellishment to our doll. And then I also found some burgundy and pink and red paper flowers, and I was excited to play around with these and add these to her dress as well. And then I, of course, have glitter because it's a Valentine fairy. I've got some iridescent disco glitter and a little foam brush that we'll be using to apply the glitter, and we'll be using some Mod Podge. And also I've got a pair of sharp scissors and my glue gun set on low. Having a dual temperatured glue gun is really important for this project. And last but not least, I have my fairy doll. Now, if you're new to making fairies with me before, you'll want to check out my basic fairy doll tutorial. In that tutorial, I teach you how to take a wooden bead, a piece of floral wire, and some embroidery floss and twist it into this beautiful little doll. Also, I've already gone ahead and styled my doll's hair. I've given her a curly hairstyle, and you will also find a tutorial where I go through step-by-step instructions on how to curl your doll's hair, and I will post both of those links below. So here you can see I've got my doll all twisted together, and she's got a cute curly hairdo. I used this really pretty variegated thread that had different colors of pink and a darker burgundy color that actually matches the burgundy flower that I picked for her dress. And I saw this and it just reminded me of Valentine's Day. Now, if you don't want to give her a curly hairstyle, that's fine. You can just leave her hair undone at this point and finish it later on, and you'll find more instructions about doing your doll's hair in the basic fairy doll tutorial. Then I grabbed my darker pink and I gave my doll some short sleeves and a pair of shorts. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab my light pink that has a little bit of sparkle to it, and we're going to do two things with that. I'm going to give her a belt or a sash, and then I'm also going to take that same pink and I'm going to wrap it around her sleeves, creating some puffed sleeves, so fuller sleeves. So she'll still have a short sleeve. We're just going to wrap several layers of the lighter pink over the darker pink to give her a look of a more full puffed sleeve. As you can see, I've got the one side done. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side, and I created this look by just doing several layers of that thread to make it look thicker. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab my darker pink, and I'm just going to add a tiny bit of the darker pink right at the end of her sleeve to kind of finish that off and add just another pop of that color. So once my doll is dressed, I'm actually going to set her aside, and I'm going to grab my flowers and I'm going to start pulling them apart. And I'm actually only using a couple layers of each of these flowers. So I always set the rest of my petals aside for other projects. I really just wanted to get a skirt that had different textures and was full and fluffy and had a look of lace and ruffles And I thought these flowers worked really well for that. As I started to take apart my roughly looking flower, I realized there was tons of glue holding it together. I'm usually pretty good at making sure that I pick out flowers that don't have a lot of glue holding them together, because you want to be able to pull them apart, but lately I seem to be getting a lot of flowers that still have the glue. So I was just careful when I pulled these apart, and we're actually using those ruffled layers as the underneath layers so you don't see the glue. And then I just started playing around with the petals, layering them together different ways, and once I had them the way that I liked them, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut an X into the middle of each flower so I can slide the petals up and around my doll's waist. And I decided to do cream on the bottom and just one section that had the darker pink. I'm just using 2 layers of those darker pink flowers, and then I loved how the lace looked over the darker pink. And then once you have the X cut into the middle of each of the flowers, you're going to take your petals and you're going to slide them up and around her waist, starting with the smallest petals. And once you have those all up and around your doll's waist, you're going to take your glue gun, and using tiny amounts of glue, you're going to start to secure her skirt together. So I'm just using little tiny dabs of glue and pressing the skirt together so that it lays pretty and that it stays on my doll. And I really wanted to make sure that that lace was secure and that you could see all of the different layers of the different petals. And once we have our doll completely dressed with her skirt and we have that all tacked down, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my paper flowers, and I just kind of started playing around with them. At this point, I wasn't really sure where I wanted to put the flowers. I really liked the darker, almost reddish color of flowers. I really like how it picked up some of the thread that was in her hair. And then I loved how the lighter pink flowers also picked up some of those same colors that were in my doll's hair. So I decided to use 3 of the bigger paper flowers on the back of my doll. And then I decided to use the little... and I glued those down on the back of my doll. And then I decided to use the little rosebuds that were the lighter pink around the bottom of her dress. So I just spaced them evenly around the bottom of her dress using little bits of glue on the back of each flower. Or you can actually glue directly on the skirt and then put the flower on. But I just worked slowly around my doll so that I got those flowers spaced evenly and had a nice pretty row of rosebuds around the bottom of her skirt. Now we're going to add a rosebud right to the side of her waist, just to repeat those pretty little rosebuds. Then I went ahead and grabbed that darker color of pink thread, and I'm going to give my doll some shoes. So just starting at the bottom of each foot, wrapping up a little ways to give her some shoes. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to pull the curls apart and arrange my doll's hair. So I'm just styling it so that the curls lay together nicely, and it's good to separate the pieces of thread. This helps the curls to lay nicely together. I also took one of the little curls right in the front and cut it a little bit shorter so she has some curly bangs. And then I'm going to put one of my little rosebuds on the side of her hair. So I figured out where I wanted it. I kind of moved the curls back a little bit. I'm going to put some glue on my rosebud, and I'm going to gently press it into her hair on the side. And it gave her this beautiful little rosebud in her hair. And now we're going to add some glitter, because a Valentine fairy doll would not be complete without some sparkly glitter. And that's one of the things that really stuck out to me in the vintage Valentines, was they had a lot of glitter on them, and it was iridescent and sparkly and so pretty. So I'm going to take my Mod Podge and my little foam brush, and I'm actually only adding a little bit of glue to the side of each rosebud. So I'm only adding the glue to half of the rosebud, and I did 1 or 2 at a time. And then I went back and I grabbed my glitter and I just sprinkled the glitter over each rosebud. I didn't want to completely cover each flower with the glitter, and I wanted to be the glitter to be more of an accent instead of a main focus. I just wanted it to kind of make those little rosebuds pop a little bit. So I went around, I put a little bit of glue and glitter on each of the rosebuds. I also put some on the little rosebud right by the side of her waist, and I put a little bit of the glitter up in her hair on the rosebud. and went back, played with her hair some more, and that's it, you guys. You're all set. You have this gorgeous, very sweet, beautiful, vintage-inspired Valentine fairy doll. I'm really excited with how this doll turned out, and I think what would be a really fun way to decorate for Valentine's Day would be to take my little vintage Valentine fairy and take some of my mom's beautiful antique Valentines and making a little display on my mantle. I just think she's so beautiful and really did capture that look and feel of the vintage Valentines. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. I love hearing from you. I would love to see, if you decide to recreate this doll, I would love to see a picture of it. You can share pictures with me of any of your dolls on Facebook or on Instagram with the hashtag untidyartist. If there are any fairies that you'd like to see, please post those in the comments below. I do have some more really exciting Valentine tutorials coming up. I have a couple of different decor ideas, and then I have another Valentine fairy doll coming up. I have this really darling Cupid fairy doll, and I'm really excited to post that tutorial, so watch for that. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Give this a thumbs up if you liked it, and we'll see you guys next time.